Welcome back to another edition of This Week in 3 Minutes. I've called this one Virgin Galactic. What an exciting week for those of us following the gold price. Thursday, we saw a big spike in the price of gold up to $1,365 in US. It's softened since. Didn't quite touch my target of $1,370. I'm not confident that the next bull run will begin until we break past $1,370. But given all the activity in the markets and politically and militarily, I don't think that it's going to be very far off before we see that 1370 shattered, actually. And why do I say that? Well, something hit me in the face this week. It was so obvious, I can't believe I didn't see it before. And that has to do with the relationship between these petro-yuan oil contracts, the future of China, how does gold fit into this, etc. I was looking at a picture. I put the picture in the show notes if you want to see with your own eyes. So the Shanghai Gold Exchange, if you don't know, has been around for 15 years. It's now the largest physical gold trading exchange in the world. It's very different than the COMEX. There's no paper shenanigans allowed. It's a very strict physical market. And it says, of course, above the door in English and in Chinese writing, Shanghai Gold Exchange. But slightly lower and a little more recessed, said something else is there that I didn't really pick up on. And it says China Foreign Exchange Trade System. I'll say that again. Underneath the words Shanghai Gold Exchange says China Foreign Exchange Trade System. So clearly the Chinese are looking at gold as physical gold, monetary gold, as a part of the trade settlement mechanism that'll be used in this giant trading bloc that the Chinese are forming relationships with through this new Silk Road project, this $20 trillion massive infrastructure project with seaports, airports and highways and bridges and trains. And it is an incredible project, the largest man has ever undertaken. And they're going to want their own settlement system for all the participants there, and they're going to want to not have to worry about threats from other currencies or the need to use other currencies. They can use their own domestic currencies and obviously the Chinese currency. And gold is going to fit into that. How exactly, we don't know just yet, but the Chinese are clearly moving in that direction. And like this Virgin Galactic spacecraft that successfully launched this month. Branson, if you don't know, has this rocket ship that he flies up into several, 40, 50,000 feet or whatever it is, and then the rocket ship drops and takes off into space. Well, they finally got one to test and work, and it actually got into low-level orbit, but more importantly, anybody can fly. It's landing was the hard part. It landed successfully. Everything was a success. The first test was great, and I think that's a perfect parallel to how you can look at the new petro-yuan contracts, which settle in September, and a safe landing. When the settlement happens and everything goes as it's supposed to, the world will be confident and watching to see what the next step is, which of course will be blasting China off into space as a new petro-yuan carry trade begins. And people start exchanging yuan for things like Chinese bonds and infrastructure and equity and all this. The world is going to look very, very different next year. And what we need is that safe landing to prove that the new China system works. And assuming it does, confidence will be there. And I think we're going to see massive capital outflows into it and a substantial increase in the price of gold for the months and probably years to come until this whole thing settles out. So try not to pay too much attention to the saber rattling between Syria, Russia, and America. I'm convinced that's to distract you against the real story going on here. And we'll see what happens. But hang in there. The fireworks, I think, are about to begin. So have yourself a great weekend. See you next Friday.